This is Ari the Architect.
And Sala Vegan,
Where you from? You supposed to say where you from?
Memphis,
Memphis.
Tennessee, holding it down in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey, they gonna have to hear that forever. I'm sorry, Atlanta or wherever y'all
Yeah,
from, y'all gotta hear this.
yes,
How you
born and
been?
raised.
How you been though?
I've been pretty good, you know,
So that's what's up.
grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
So
about you?
I've been all right. Make sure I say this right. Sustainable management.
Sustainability management.
Kiss my man. Sustainability management. But now
Yeah.
that, like I said, that post that no that comment, it took me. I was like, man, I can see everything working, and just
hmm
how things in a work. To be honest with
Yeah.
you,
All the connections.
at least for me, on so many
Yeah.
levels. I think others got that too. But I hope you excited about this damn purge you don't put together.
I am.
I hope my auntie ready too, cause I'm gonna put her ass on this purge too. She gotta get ready for this.
You always give me your auntie a hard time.
Nah,
Watch me
what?
come out.
Nah, what's dope though? Found out my cousin. She 2 years in on the vegan tip, and my other
Yeah.
cousin talking about going raw. Man,
That's an accomplishment.
oh, that dish I had. What was it? There was some lentils, wasn't it? And some other
The
sprouts.
sprouts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
that's
was
it.
lentil sprouts, mung bean sprouts, and then
Oh, mung beans.
the
Yeah,
yeah, it was beets and carrots, ginger and garlic.
that secret sauce.
Mhm.
Yeah, keep that going. I need like three of those on this purge.
Okay, I got
I need some juice and whatever that damn stew you got.
you. Curry stew.
Oh, have you done the what is that called? The chili. Have you done the chili
I
yet?
have not done the chili yet.
Tripping. You was
I
tripping.
have very specific ingredients that I like to use on my chili that I
Oh, for real.
yeah.
Well, we got a whole month of January to look forward to that after this purge, cause I'm about to
Yeah.
purge. I'm about to purge a whole lot of shit. I know that. Excuse my French. I'm about to purge.
I
Uh,
think it's applicable, the word you use. It
yeah,
works.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you.
Okay. What's up?
So what does harvest in the spring mean to you?
Harvest in the spring. I feel like someone asked me recently, like, what's your New Year's resolutions? Are you looking forward to the new year? And I'm like, I don't really get excited about the new year anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more so looking at it as just tomorrow, you know?
Yeah.
And I think harvesting in the spring also aligns with that. Like, not just thinking about a new year resolution,
Mm-hmm.
but thinking about what you can do now
Mm-hmm.
to, see the results in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just leads into the year. It's not just a moment like a countdown to 2021. It's more, I think it's more aligned with the lifestyle shift
Yeah.
and
I-
understanding like the different phases of the year and that you have to be actively working towards something every single season in order to harvest in the spring.
Nah, that make I mean from me being in the garden, that make a lot of sense because I don't necessarily think I was prepared
Mm-hmm.
for the, you know what I'm saying? Like for I wasn't prepared for COVID per se, but it was just like me getting out there in the garden, I was ready to dig in, plant the seeds, and then be prepared for a harvest. So like
Yeah.
now being able to prepare in the fall for the spring harvest, it's like okay, let me go buy the different seeds that I want to see in the spring, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's the lettuce, the greens, the onions, the potatoes, you know what I mean, the cucumber, the I had what I did have, I had sunflowers. So
Mm.
to actually plant, I think I had like 30 seeds for the sunflowers, but only like 15 of them rows
Mm.
just to see them. Just to see them. It just showed me sacred geometry too. That was
Mm.
one thing that
Okay.
I did get a chance to see, but
Yeah.
I didn't really know how to maintain the seeds. I
Mhm.
was just like, just to get a chance to see that was good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something about seeing something come from something so small and turn into something mighty and fruitful. It's just it's simple, but it's complex at the same time. And I think that once we explain to everyone the different phases that we're proposing with this whole harvest in the spring, it'll come full circle. Like the purge, the plant, maintain, harvest, and sustain. Um, with that first one being purge,
Yeah.
like everybody wants to reap the harvest in the spring, but it takes a lot of work to get there. And the first step is to purge
Yeah, it
and
is.
defining purge to make free of something unwanted, clearing the way for new growth.
Mhm.
So,
So would you say that's like because it seems like, and it's just making me go back again. Like I'm having to dig all them weeds up and knock the weeds down. We having to till the land,
hmm
tilling the land. We gotta dig the line. I gotta take the shovel. I gotta dig the line. Then I had to have I can't I don't know the name of this particular piece, but I had to dig in the dirt, probably
hmm
about like I say about 2 feet deep. It wasn't too deep, but we had
okay.
to plant the watermelon.
mm,
So it was like to take that piece, and I had to do like maybe like 20 holes in order to like plant the watermelons. It was
okay,
just it was just building the upper body strength just from working that, you know what I mean, just working them.
yeah,
But it was
yeah,
so that's what you're saying when you say purge.
yeah. And I think like for you to give that explanation of how much work you had to do physically
Mm-hmm.
just to dig a hole,
Mm-hmm.
like, and that's not even, you're not even talking about harvesting at that point. You're talking about preparing the ground
Yeah.
for before the seed. And I think that if we think about that as it relates to our life, as it relates to our bodies, it just it speaks to how much needs to be broken down in order to see the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think with the purge and with the fast that we'll talk about later, it'll it's gonna make people kind of cringe a bit. But at the same time, you realize like, hey, you gotta break these things down first. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta cleanse, you gotta cleanse deeply first before we can start talking about all these seeds you want to plant, that we want to plant,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, I agree with that analogy of digging that deep hole for the watermelon, you strengthening your upper body.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of that is related. All of that brings home the point of how much work it takes,
Mm-hmm.
how much sacrifice it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we covered the importance of mental strength in our first podcast,
Yeah.
but that part is definitely going to come into play when it comes to us purging.
Man, and when you say purging, I think about like getting rid of stuff, whether that's
Yeah.
in the mind, whether that's in the house, whether that's like photos, um, numbers, people. Like I even think about social media, like
Oh, yeah.
like purging people that I'm not really interacting with.
Yeah. Or that's offering you visuals that's not feeding you,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. That's
it's
you know
kind
what
of
I'm saying.
distracting you, or it's in your way as
Yeah.
opposed to building you.
But my homeboys and I, we do like those. We do like those. Nah, but I'm just kidding.
No.
We say whatever. No, I'm sincere. I'm sincere. So sincere. But
Yeah.
what do you mean by maintain though? Because you did say, the purge. I understand the plant.
Oh,
the plant was like just me saying I got these sunflower seeds and they've been sitting and
mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like, man, I done had these seeds for like 2 years and I ain't really didn't know what the hell I was doing like 2 years ago, trying to plant some sunflower seeds, dug up some land and really
Yeah.
didn't have any mulch or anything to feed the soil, but
Mm-hmm.
I was able to plant in some rich soil that the elder had been growing. He had been growing food for like over 40 years.
Yeah.
So that was some rich soil. I'm looking at worms. I'm looking at bugs.
Yeah.
Like man. So what you mean by like maintain? Because I can kind of get the plant, and then you can describe the plant part too.
Okay, so yeah, let's just back it up. We talked about purge. The next step would be plant. Um, plant is, let's say you've gotten clarity on what you want to grow.
Okay.
And just for everybody's understanding, we're using farming as an analogy, but it speaks to any and everything that you want to do, whether it's a mental planting or a physical planting as far as what you're consuming.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all connected. So we talked about purge, you're detoxifying, essentially cleansing, planting. You're starting the process of planting what you want to see harvest. Now, when it comes to maintaining, let's go back to farming.
Mm-hmm.
You plant a seed. You got to make sure that you protect the growth of that seed. You have other species that's going to come and try to, strangle it, or you have insects or animals that's trying to come and grab its nutrients before you get to do it.
Them squirrels,
Yeah.
them little
So
bugs.
that's what I mean by maintain. The work is not done once you plant the seed. You have to maintain that seed and the growth of that seed along its journey. You have to maintain its growth. Like you have to be disciplined. I think maintaining maintenance
Mm-hmm.
will likely be a good um like discipline would be a good synonym for what I mean by maintain.
Okay. I can see that because like that makes me think about the process of again the watermelon.
Mhm.
The vines on the watermelon. We had like 3 rows of watermelon, and
Mhm.
I can show in the video of what
Okay.
I mean by that. But it's just like we had to open up the lanes, and we had to lay down tarp so
Yeah.
we can guide the vine lines where they needed to go. I know
Okay.
that was one way of maintaining. We would also have to like knock the weeds out or the new. I say the new. I won't even call it weeds because weeds can be
Yeah.
a
Oh
good
yeah.
thing. But like the weeds will start taking over the actual seeds that we were planting
Right.
if we allowed it to. So we would have to go in with the weed eater and knock the grass down.
Mhm.
So the discipline too. When I think about discipline, it's like we had the barrels in order to water the seeds. You had to step away and give it sunlight too.
Yeah.
The seed has to grab a hold to the dirt. So it's just a lot when you say and maintain.
Yeah. And I think I like what you said about the sunlight. When I think about sunlight as it relates to our personal journeys, you just make sure you expose yourself to the right energy,
Mm-hmm.
while you're on this journey, while you're working towards your harvest.
Yeah.
Make sure that you are putting yourself in an environment where you're getting all the right elements.
Yeah.
When we talk about farming, we think about sunlight, we think about water. Um, what are the environments that allow you to get those elements that you need in order to harvest?
Yeah. That made me think about this book about the 25 cell habits of highly successful people.
Mm,
And the guy was saying like he was saying, sometimes it was chapter 19, he was saying you have to go outside and get sunlight, say for instance on a lunch break.
mm-hmm,
Also, well, I say y'all start there. So he was saying like I'm in the shop and I'm cutting. Sometimes I need to just step outside just to get that fresh air
Yeah.
to be able to see like, okay, let me clear my mind of whatever may be going on or whatever whoever may have sat in my chair. Like
Hmm.
that goes back to the purge. That goes back to the sunlight and maintaining too. But
Yeah.
something else from the sales book, it was saying, don't hop in the car if I'm on my way to the job. Don't
Hmm.
just don't just hop in the car and turn the radio on because that news is the same news that's always gonna be circulating. He
Oh
was
yeah.
like he was like cut on a podcast. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And in me listening to a podcast, it got me to start thinking about what moves do I want to plant or do I want to harvest, whether it's in the spring or what do I want to get involved in, or where it's like, how can I take what I'm doing, whether it's the More Than a Haircut podcast, whether it's Keep It Seed Simple,
Hmm.
let me go hop on a TikTok. When me hopping on TikTok, it's an app that's known for being about dancing for the youth.
Yeah.
Instagram started out with just photos. That's not what it is today.
No.
TikTok may transform into something else. So just being a part of it, it just
Hmm.
made, you know what I'm saying? It just made me think about just some of those things. And me listening to a podcast too, it was an opportunity for me a couple of years ago. One of my homeboys, he on an ABA basketball team. So he was like, it costs a certain amount of money, but I can put my logo on the jerseys. So it started once I started listening to the podcast, it started making me think about other opportunities. And I was like, man, so now I do that more often now. So many ideas come as I'm
Hmm.
riding while I'm thinking clearly. So I just think it go all into to the pieces.
I agree. I
Yeah.
mean, what you just explained, it just speaks to how all of these steps can align you with things that you might not have seen had you not taken that time to purge, to plant, to maintain. Um, yeah, it's critical. It all, like you said, it all feeds into each other.
But what about the harvesting and sustaining though? Like those last 2 points.
So, harvest is when you start to see those results that you've been working for. You start to see them. Um, but I want us to focus on
Okay.
sustainability, because if we just jump up and down and celebrate our harvest and not think about the next steps to reap another harvest,
Yeah.
it's temporary results. So you harvest, but what's next?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
got you.
pay attention to yourself. Um, what are some of the things that you need to be observing and analyzing that will help feed into the next crop? Um, what are you seeing about yourself and how your harvest turned out that you need to then incorporate into your next purge, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a cycle, like it just
It's
continuously feeds
continuously. Yeah.
into one another. So that's why I didn't want us to stop at harvest. I felt like there needed to be another step.
Nah,
And
I
when
feel
we
you.
go, yeah, when we going into sustain is a heavy word. Sustain means you see longevity. You don't see it ending. So you're gonna do whatever you need to do to get it to another harvest and then to another harvest. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
think
that
I got you on that. I feel like I'm trying not to say the word sustainability.
there you go. Yeah,
I'm with you now. Sustainability. So
yeah,
one thing I can say from the harvest and the sustainability point is I probably got like 200 seeds from the watermelons from one watermelon from the last time. So
wow.
I still have those seeds though. So
Mhm,
it made me think about, okay, like I have to do that more often in these next harvests. So that
mm,
way the more it's reproduced, I'm like, yeah, I want to go grab all that land. I mean that dirt
Mhm.
and put it in a bag and take it somewhere. But
Yeah.
Yo, this is Art of Architect with More Than a Haircut podcast. Tune in every Friday for new content. Definitely on Anchor as well as YouTube and on IG. Hit your boy up. It's More Than a Haircut.
Yeah.
the that's where I think about sustaining. So next time we plant some sunflowers, then I can grab those sunflowers and save them for the next harvest. You know what I'm saying? Or really the
Yeah.
next planting season to go back to that continuous aspect.
And I know that we're using farming as like an analogy. Um,
It worked though.
it definitely works. And I think I want to touch on a little bit of how our ancestors like rotated crops, like the significance of rotating crops.
You
And
gotta
how
you gotta expound on that too when you say
how
rotate.
so I want to give a disclaimer that I am an aspiring farmer. So
Oh,
I'm
me too.
not an expert. We're all learning together. So I'm using the
Yeah.
analogies because my elders have taught me, but I just have to really, I'm still learning. That's my whole point. But I know the importance of rotating crops. And when I say rotating crops, that means that a an expert farmer knows what his or her soil needs.
Yeah.
So let's say you just harvested a really nice crop of sweet potatoes.
Okay.
You get, um, you're not gonna plant sweet potatoes back to back.
Nah.
You're gonna plant something else.
Yeah.
And it's not all about season, it's also about the nutrients that these crops are leaving in the soil.
Yeah.
And so
I
let's
feel
let's let's connect that to our lives. Let's say the first 3 months of this new year, you need to be working on one crop.
yeah.
You harvest from that crop. Next 3 months, you need to be likely focused on a whole different crop
Wow.
to feed yourself in a way that aligns with your sustainable goals, your long term goals. So I think that,
That's cold. That's cold.
yeah, and I think that definitely ties into the sustain piece. So the sustain piece is heavy.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
it is because it's making me think about like um now it's making me think about the stock market or like a book that I read where I was explaining it was a move that I made because like my grandmother has dementia, you know what I mean? And I was like I invested into a cannabis company when it was like 16 cent, right?
Hmm.
So I got in when it was 16 cent and the company was talking about dementia. The
Mm,
cannabis company was. So I was like, let me just put some money over here. I only put like $9 on it. So
yeah.
just imagine I would have put $90 on it. It went from $16. I mean 16 cents to $16.
Mm,
And I had 60 of them. So if I take 60, then I turn that over, it would have instead of being I think it was like $1,000, a thousand
hmm.
dollar profit. Instead of it being $1,000, it could have been 10 recs if I don't put $90 on
Hmm.
it. Just off of $90. So it's like when I reaped that harvest, I took some of that bread and I went and put it in the Apple stock. And
Hmm.
then in me putting it in Apple, I go buy one share. The price increased, right?
Hmm.
I took I didn't take any of that money. They split the Apple stock from 425 to $119 a piece. So I got four.
Mm,
So it's going back to what you're saying of all right, you reaping from the sustainability of what you just did. And now let me put it back into something and let
mm,
that generate and make some cause like that stock alone in the next 10 years might go from $100 to being worth 1,000 a piece.
yeah,
So it's just it's so many layers.
I agree. And I think one of the things that stands out to me the most in your description is the know, like knowing when to shift and where to shift. Like in that example, going from the cannabis to the apple, the intuition of knowing, okay, I'm about to switch lanes, you
Yeah,
know? Like I think that that intuition will become more fruitful, more clear when we make those initial steps of purging, of planting, of maintaining. We do that with full intention.
yeah.
Like our intuition, our clarity as it relates to making these decisions becomes so strong. It's like you don't have any more doubt. Like doubt doesn't exist anymore.
I
You like,
feel you.
oh, you like, okay,
I
I
feel
know I gotta go left. I know I gotta go right.
yeah,
And everybody could be in your ear telling you like, what are you doing? You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
But you feel so strongly about it. It's like I know this is the way I need to go.
And then
So
I think to add to that is it's going back to touching the soil.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like getting your feet in the soil, getting your hands in the dirt,
yeah.
and then like re-emerging that child within. I think that's the main thing that helped me. So
Hmm.
like as I'm making these moves and I'm getting into these lanes, it's it's opening up opportunities. I'm not gonna say I never would have saw, but
Hmm.
it's because I feel like this year alone, it was a lot of emotional moves that were made. As far as I had opportunity to invest into a company when it was $1, and had I
Hmm.
put $100 on it, it would have brought me 5 racks. But
Yeah.
then I didn't move on it. I sold them. I sold a few of them. My
Hmm.
goal was to do a hundred shares. I didn't do it. Then I'm like, I could have put 1,000 on it. I didn't do it. But it's like, okay, what's the lesson learned from the last decade?
Yeah.
Watch your emotions within this aspect of the stock market. If I'm not gonna do long term investment, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Not only that, let me set my children up to say, okay, here's your account. Let me get you started with the aspect of this is what the stock market is, or this is what an asset and liability is, or like you said earlier, consumer versus a producer. What
Hmm.
am what am I consuming that's gonna make me a great producer? That goes back to sustainability though. That goes
Right.
back to maintain, that go back to harvest, that go back to the purge. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
For
like
sure.
it's really on point. Like when you said what am I consuming from the videos on what I'm seeing or from the social media?
Yeah.
I feel you. And you did talk about the definition of purge, but like, what does it mean to you though?
Uh,
Cause I'm out. Let's say I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
just shedding, like shedding
You
things that
you a snake now? You
I do not like snakes.
for real?
I do. Like. That's a fear. Side note. That's a fear I probably should overcome because I'm afraid of them.
I
But I
don't like
just.
them. I don't like them. I ain't afraid. I ain't gonna say I'm necessarily afraid of them. I don't just necessarily. I don't care for them, but I mean that
I,
serves the purpose of sharing.
I'm afraid of them.
I feel you.
But
Like one of their heads off or something.
I just feel like it's just when we talk about purging
Mhm.
to make free of something unwanted. Um, I mean, it's when you think about the definition, it seems pretty obvious that you need to do it, but you're detoxifying, you're cleansing yourself,
Mhm.
you're getting rid of waste, you're getting rid of things, and when I say waste, you're getting rid of anything, whether it's energy, bad energy, whether it's toxins in your body. You're getting rid of things that are no longer feeding you.
Where I need
Why would you
working
have
working outside of it.
why would we allow these things to be in our realm if they're not feeding our growth. So that's what purge that's what purge means to me.
Gotcha. I mean that I feel like I guess for me though it's kind of like oh I think it's purging a lot of old ways. Not I think my thing used to be organized chaos. I'm like
Mhm.
I want to bring some chaos because there's been a lot of pain out here. You know what I'm saying? That's been put on people relative to me. So I'm like shit. Let's get to it. But now I'm just like it still can things can be chaotic, but it's gonna have to be structured. It's got to be organized. And I'm not saying I'm not using it in a negative sense when I say organized chaos. It's just more or less like it go back to the purge. It go back to like what am I reading?
Mhm.
What am I doing to better myself and the people around me? So if I'm consuming a book and now I can sit down with some of the homies or somebody they got an idea and they need help and just one conversation for 10 minutes, if it can trigger something and it make them think a whole nother way, to me that's my organized chaos. But it's more or less like don't just listen to me, take notes and let's jot this down, let's record a video of this so you can
Mhm.
have a reference to go back to.
Yeah.
So it's more or less like organization has been an issue for me.
Mm.
So now it's like the more that I focus on getting organized, the more I'm like, okay, here go my structure. On Sundays, let me wash dishes and let me wash clothes. So
Yeah.
now the entire week is much better. It flows now. But
Yeah.
before to be like, man, fuck that shit. I'm gonna wash them tomorrow, or I'm gonna
Mm.
do. I'm more or less like, let me. What can I knock out now?
Mhm.
So that I feel like that's my aspect of purge. Like
Yeah.
let me improve taking over things as far as like I've been I've been using social media to learn how technology works in my behalf and my benefit versus it consuming me to work on the benefit of somebody else. Meaning
Mhm.
like the app that I might use like Instagram.
Yeah.
They have different functions that you can use. And now I'm like, this is just practice for me. So then if I get in front of a large when I get in front of a larger audience, it's like, okay, I see why he was using these different techniques now. Or I'm
Mhm.
saying this to myself. I see how this works. I see how this flows. So it brings about a different change and it brings about a different thing. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like I'm winning more in different lanes in the past where I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and listening to you speak about that, I think that what you talked about was adding. You're adding a lot of new things in your life. And I think generally speaking, when we talk about purging, we automatically start pulling stuff out of our closets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like getting rid of stuff. But I think it's easier to adopt if we start to think about what can you add that will automatically help you cleanse. Instead of looking at it as subtraction, you look at it as addition. You talked about reading books. You talked about, we're about to talk about some food here shortly. But
Mm.
these are things that you're adding. And then as you add these new things, you're automatically just gonna like the things that's not feeding you are just gonna
I,
exit.
yeah,
Like you don't have to like literally go look in the mirror and just be like, I need to get rid of these. I need to get rid of, like if once you start implementing more building practices, like it's automatically just gonna go away.
yeah.
I
I'm
think
saying,
it's a
I'm
healthier
saying,
approach.
yeah, I'm saying that because it's happening with it's almost like it's happening with everybody around me.
Hmm.
Certain people that you know what I mean, like they don't serve their purpose. You know what I'm saying? Some people come in my lifetime for a season. Some
Hmm.
people come for a reason. Some people here for a lifetime. And some they just here for a second. They in and they gone. You know what I mean? Ain't no
Yeah,
disrespect to it. It's just like what it is for me.
right. Right.
I mean, it's just more or less like as I'm tapping into who I am and what I'm about, it's just more or less like it's a balance to like you said, like the purge is not necessarily like purging and getting rid of stuff, you know what I'm saying, and giving away stuff. It's just like I probably invested um I invested into some books that I feel like when it's all said and done, this 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 spring the harvest is gonna be major because from the spring I feel like it's gonna tap into the summer, and then it's gonna pour over into to autumn, and then to the fall and to the winter. It's just gonna be like
Right.
I ain't see this coming. But it's not just for me. It's just not just the harvest in the spring. This is from this past decade.
Mm.
Cause I done made some decisions that didn't work. I made some decisions that did, and I'm addressing and I'm assessing, and I'm like, this where it has to. This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
So if my homeboy is, it's kind of like when I said, iron doesn't sharpen iron. I always feel like, well, I ain't gonna say I always feel like that. One of my OGs put it in front of me. He was like, only a stone can sharpen iron. So when I think of that, I think about what I learned from Balewa.
Mhm.
Balewa is a stone. I am the iron. You know what I mean? And sometimes I might be the teacher and he's a student.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like you the teacher and I'm the student, especially with this food. This food is so amazing. I feel like Kevin Hart. This food is so amazing.
Really.
But nah, I ain't gonna, why purge?
Why?
Yes.
Because we have to.
But I
And
don't want to. I don't want to.
I mean, we have to. And I think that we can kind of bundle this and touch on a few different things.
Yeah.
I think that we have to. Point
Yeah.
blank period.
Yeah.
I think that
For real.
it's not as excruciating as you may think because you decide how you want to purge.
Yeah.
You decide what steps you want to take. You decide which level you want to purge on. And then also we have to. If anything 2020 has taught us, we have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I think that it's shown us that you and I are blessed to be sitting here
Yeah.
talking about this right now and being in great health. Thank God. And it's shown us, I think a lot of people are just wanting a better quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in order to optimize that, you have to. Like that's the only way you're gonna learn like what direction to go in, how to optimize your eating, how to optimize your health, how to better prevent this, how to be proactive about that. You purge, you cleanse, you detoxify.
Yeah. Mm. I can see that
So
on. I see. I can
yeah.
see that on other levels too, as far as like even in the standpoint of like education. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? It's like most people don't realize that the youth being educated now is in their hands.
yeah.
A lot of people weren't prepared or ready for that, and it's like I've been saying this forever.
Mm,
Like, excuse my French, but fuck school. But nah. But I just always felt like,
yeah.
the way in which they teach is more or less like you teaching information that's from 40, 50 years ago,
Hmm.
but the current child is really looking at 2050. So why not teach them what's gonna be going on in 2050? Let them come back to what y'all, you know what I'm saying, what y'all learn. but also some of the old ways do need to be taught and passed on. Like we was talking about getting in the dirt, touching the
Yeah.
ground, touching the elements. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely feel you on the challenges of it was a lot of them in 2020, but it's just more or less like to me if you didn't take time personally out to like read on something, observe and take a breath, you were probably bombarded with the news outside of the elements in which you are.
Yeah.
You
That's
know what I
true.
mean? I live from inside out versus the outside in, because like I guess it's just for me at a point of understanding like nothing outside of me can harm me. Once I got that sense of peace, like when you talked about Persian,
Mhm.
once I found that sense of peace in the garden, it was
Yeah.
like, oh man, this is what I was looking for. This is what I've been trying to get to.
Yeah.
And once I got there, it's like I'm I, sometimes I'm so in control of what I'm on to where it's like I don't even be mad about people responses anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I respect you for seeing it how you see it. I ain't
Yeah.
finna I ain't finna raise my voice and get out of line. Like,
Lose any sleep over it.
oh nah, I ain't lose. Like, I sleep like a baby. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
even lie.
I think that people, we are all looking at that sense of just that confidence, that sense of grounding more now than before. Because like you said, there's so many outside forces, whether it be like if you allow the external experiences that are going on right now to shape your everyday thoughts, like you will be your immune system will be shot.
Man, tell me about it.
Your spirit will be low. You will be on the defense more than the offense. Like it would just be
Tragic.
not, it's not healthy. So I think that everyone that has been kind of trying to figure out how to stay grounded in so much chaos.
And I got a question after you said that chaos.
Yeah, what's that?
All right. So I can look in the sky and I can see birds flying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't seeing them fall out the sky, right?
Right.
And we get oxygen from the trees
Mm-hmm.
from a logical standpoint. And I'm like, why ain't more people outside breathing in the air versus but I'm like, I don't want to go, you know what I mean? It's like people be ready to fight me, but I'm like, but you've been doing something for 70, 80 years of your life. And all of a sudden, but I'd be like, all right, I respect it, but I can't, it's like the God in me won't allow me to be foolish.
Yeah.
But others it's like, hey man, and then at times I'll be like, I feel like I done been here before. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of like that be my stand and that be my stance where I'm like, I respect what y'all on, but like this ain't how me and mine operate. So man, y'all do what y'all do.
And I think that's why we're having this conversation now and talking through all of this information that we've been blessed with because we're all coming from different points. We're all coming from different experiences. As far as thinking about the benefits of being outdoors and how simple that may sound, we live in a world where the majority of our time is spent indoors, not by not by an intentional not by intentional practice, but by a means of survival.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
wild. That's wild.
I I give 2020 mad respect
Yeah.
because it's allowed us, it's shaken us up so much to where we're working from home, we're working in our backyards, we're working
Thank
on
you.
our porch, we're looking up at the trees, like you just honored the trees, and we're like, thank God I can sit here and look at my trees. Like I didn't even know I had this many trees because I'm
For
typically
real.
in a cubicle,
On the go.
sitting in this chair in the worst posture to be in for the majority of my day. So yeah, you come from a perspective where you're already understanding the benefits of being outdoors in nature.
Mm-hmm.
But we have been so accustomed to being in this rat race to live the American dream that we've looked over this. But
It was a,
2020 has like
it took that nightmare. It showed you that nightmare.
it has flipped everything upside down. And I think that we are more than ready to purge and get ourselves grounded and allow ourselves to have a to advocate for a more balanced life
Mm-hmm.
without a pandemic forcing us to.
I say pandemic, but you can say what you want to.
Planned. Why is that the first time I've heard that? Oh my goodness.
Because some me and some of my homies we talked about it. I'm trying. You see how I'm saying it in secret. Me and some of my homies we had talked about it, and we see through a lot of their bullshit.
Hey, well, you just shared that with all the followers. So y'all got
What's up?
word.
What's up, y'all? I want y'all to go back and look at how all them CEOs they left, and they left y'all to this shit show. But I'm gonna stop laughing though.
That's another episode.
That's another episode. That's you gonna have to come to more than haircut podcast to get that. But
I like how
so
you did a commercial.
yeah, why is that me? Why is why is purging necessary before planting?
Um, I mean, you gotta figure out what kind of soil you're working with. You gotta figure out what needs to. You're not gonna put your precious seeds into something that's something that's ill prepared to feed it and nourish it. So we can keep that response pretty short and sweet.
Yeah,
You,
I can
you
dig
gotta be prepared. You just gotta do some preparing. You have to do some prep work. Yeah, you're not gonna put. You want a fresh start, as fresh as you can get. You want to give yourself the opportunity to clean your slate
that.
and then move into your new beginnings. You have that ability, so why not? Why not do it?
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a response to that because I'm like I see what you're saying. Like
Yeah,
that shit got to be clear.
yeah.
It's almost like the mind has to be clear in order for me to read that 25 that 25 habits of successful salespeople.
Mhm.
Like it's like my mind had to be clear in order to like purge my thoughts on sales.
Yeah.
Meaning like okay, my homeboy come bring me a shirt, but he turn around and sell $300 worth of merch right there on the spot, right?
Mhm.
So it's like now I'm telling him like it's certain moves that you can make where it can hurt your brand if you do it like this.
Mhm.
Basically, like if you have a product that you say you're selling, but then in selling that product, you're actually sold out, and you keep pushing it as though you have it.
Mhm.
That's gonna weaken your brand because you don't have the product. So
Yeah.
why don't you pull back and continue to push what you have, and then prepare for the spring, and then let's prepare for the summer.
Yeah.
So it's just like that's just I can dig that.
Set up your infrastructure so everything can flow as best as possible. And by any means, I'm not saying to sit here and purge all year
Oh no
and
no no! I ain't
and
talking about
I just want to clear that up to everyone. Like, I'm not saying that there are no immediate steps you can take to reap your harvest, but I think that you do some type of cleaning, um,
that. Yeah,
some type of cleaning. You set yourself up a little bit better than where you are right now.
I definitely will this decade. I bet you that. Like
Yeah.
sometimes taking a trip, sometimes like shit, drinking a beer for real. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I need a beer. Be like, look, I'm drinking this time.
Clear your mind
But
a little bit.
yeah,
Get ready for your next move. Yep.
yeah. And then just like I think part of this is kind of like my homeboy's clothing line. you gotta have some self care now. If you don't, it's just like you're gonna be burnt out at some point.
Yeah.
I can't, like I can't keep running over here for this company over here, and they not really respecting my time. So I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, integrate, educate, vacate. Let me learn what I can, and let me implement what I'm doing into what's going on. So I feel like that's the proper purge for me,
Yeah.
because now I'm in the mind frame. I'm taking some shit. So it's like if I take it, I'm not taking it and to do harm. I'm doing more harm going in to help you out, because I'm not really receiving a benefit. You really using me for my energy. And
Mhm.
once I see that, it's like, all right, it's time to it's time to end this. I got one foot in, one foot out. That's where I'm at personally. Where I'm like,
Mhm.
I respect it, but it ain't gonna keep going on. So um, it's some real purging going on.
Yeah.
How can how can a vegan diet help?
Well, um,
I know
um,
I know this. I know you did help strengthen the purge, because I know, like, I got some real help when I did that 21-day juice fast. It was like, nigga, you ain't fat no more. I was like, shit, I don't know where that weight went. I feel like I lost a whole person. I was like, damn, I'm finna do this. I'm finna do a 42-day fast next time. They gonna be like,
yeah,
boy, you on some crack? No, I ain't on no crack. I ain't doing the Dave Chappelle. I ain't doing that.
I consider that. Um, the easiest way to respond to that is that you are with the vegan diet, you are trying to get as pure as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's a more pure way of consuming your nutrients.
Yeah.
You're going straight to the plants as opposed to consuming organisms that you're having to break down that living being and what they ate and how they lived and what they thought, as opposed to going straight to the plant.
To the source. Yeah.
And so I like to say that I'm an advocate. I'm biased because this is all I know.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think about it in its simplest form, I think that you're going straight to the source,
Yeah.
and I leave it at that.
Man, that's how, like, in all honesty, that's how I be feeling about the whole thing, the whole concept with the God, the God aspect. It's like, if I go take a cord and I go plug it into the wall, you know what I'm saying? That when I plug that cord into the wall, that's a source of energy that I'm plugging into.
Mhm.
For me, it's no different than when I plug into the God force.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, once I plugged in and once I tapped into that 21-day juice fast, I saw that, like, man, I'm just eating to get full
Mm.
versus to the sustainability. To go back to sustaining myself. It's like, I don't have to eat all this stuff. It's
Yeah.
my mind, or it's my body talking to me like, well, go drink some water. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And go sit down. And it's like, it's I'm quenching that thirst. I'm quenching that hunger. But I'm not saying don't starve myself out. But like, I think, I'm not gonna say I think. I know for me, this decade here, I gotta have more options of my food choices.
Mhm.
I feel like that's gonna help. Where if I'm I'm in the shop, I'm like, I don't want to just I don't want to do the garbage. I don't want to do the trash. I want to be able to say, well, it's a vegan restaurant near. I can call Solomon up. Hey, I need
Mm.
this food, prepared for the week, and now you know what I mean. I'm covered. Or
Yeah.
like I said, I got to get another juicer, and that'll be something out of what I got going on where I can do on my own. But I definitely want to implement, like, foods that I can cook myself, stuff that I can make myself, which I know how to do some of that stuff, but I
Yeah.
want to get better at just my options. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I like to. I'm definitely experiencing the change in just my consumption too with prepping my meals. So I've been doing meal prepping for others, but I've started to prep my meals more often, and I'm finding like it's starting to take less to satisfy me. Like I have a friend who's not a foodie, and they say I don't live to eat, I eat to live.
Yeah.
And so I'm a foodie. Like I enjoy different types of food, you know.
Mine, them black
I
eyed
look
peas, man, that black eyed pea sausage.
I look at a pretty plate, it's exciting. Like I'm a visual person. So I'm kind of transitioning into eating to live. And
Yeah.
I realize how simple it is. Like how once you start this discipline of providing yourself by meal prepping, you know, providing yourself with what you need and only what you need.
Yeah.
Like and you start to do this um religiously, you start to reach for the other things less. Like it's less there it's not so often that you're grabbing things that you don't need anymore. You know, you are strictly just giving yourself the fuel that you need.
Mm,
So earlier you asked me about why I feel like the vegan diet would help you, help strengthen the purge process. I want to also say that it also depends on what type of vegan diet you adopt
mm.
because um that
It's
depending
involved.
on what way you go, it could be detrimental. It could be more damaging than where you are. You know, if you're eating all processed foods,
Mm,
um, or you're eating all kind of fried stuff. So I think that it offers you the opportunity to have a more pure journey, but you also need to just try to optimize that as much as possible too. But I think we'll speak on that later about the different tiers of purging, the different options you can take. But yeah,
okay. So I think this is the hard part. We got different tiers of purging.
yeah.
And like I said, I done did the 21-day juice fast. I think I did the 21-day vegan thing. And
Mhm.
then I didn't hear, like when my cousin said, "Yeah, man, I want to be raw." I'm like, I don't know what all that, I don't know all that raw shit you talking, brother man from the other land. So like, how would you motivate someone who feels overwhelmed and doesn't know where to start? Start with defining what they want to do with the purge. Like, how would you?
um, I would say that no matter how challenging it may seem, you got to realize that there's like this one small step that you can take. Like, don't get so discouraged by this process that we're sharing with y'all. Like, there has to be one little small baby step that you can take, and you got to realize that you need to be patient with yourself and allow yourself to take that small step. And once I promise you, once you take that small step and you're successful at that small step, it'll open the doors for
Mhm.
the next small step. And all of these little tiny steps are gonna lead to you getting closer and closer to the harvest that you want. So that would be my advice. It's just don't shut down the opportunity. Select something that will allow you to purge. It may be that you don't drink sodas or like something really really small like
Yeah, for the 7 days.
exactly.
Yeah, and I kind of keep it like I kind of keep it funky, like my folks said. They be like, so my homegirl teaches in the stock market. She's
Mhm.
more of the corporate, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of gave a corporate way of a purge, and I'm gonna give it like my homeboy, the Wall Street Trapper. He give it from the street level, but it's just more or less like you said, just eliminate the drink for 7 days, eliminate cigarettes for 7 days. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Get off the pork or the beef. You know what I'm saying, for 7 days.
Yeah.
Then it can even be 3 days. Like start with just start with a water fast. You know what I'm saying, for 3 days, and just talk. Like jot down some information and see how you feel. But
Yeah.
like I've done a fast where it's like for 7 days. I did it with the homeboy Derek Grace,
Mm-hmm.
and this particular fast was like fast from something. Like it could be drinking soft drinks, it could
Mm-hmm.
be eating chicken, it could be eating fish or whatever. But we actually had to give away something in the 7 days. And I
Mm.
remember I remember giving up a painting that I did, and it was like the value was like $500 to me. It was a painting, a freehand painting I did of Bob Marley, and
Okay.
I wound up giving up a pair of clippers. But through that process, it's like what came about was my car came about.
Mm.
Not even, not expecting anything doing this purge or doing this fast. And it was just like me putting that energy out there is is reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? I put it out in the universe and look what came about.
Yeah.
So it's just I know the value, you know the value of it. It's just more or less I think we'll just be helpful and be guides for people that have never taken the step, because some people are afraid to jump off the porch and just do it.
Oh yeah.
Some people be gung ho to say, "Hey man, I'm finna go cold turkey. And I'm gonna do this level of doing the fast." So I feel you, or this purge.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Fear is paralyzing. I get it. That's why we're doing this together.
man. I don't know. I don't know. Shit.
And no matter where you are, no
Yeah,
matter what level of purge
yeah.
you decide on, we'll all be here together, checking in and sharing our journey. And I've never heard anyone have a negative thing to say about ridding themselves of something that they don't need. Like
I haven't either.
anyone and everyone that I've spoken with about fasting, they are they are like they could have not eaten majority of the day, like drink water all day, but they're coming with news and exciting revelations. And I ran into this random person who dropped a nugget so beautiful that I would have never been able to receive had I not been on this fast. So um
Telling you.
I'm excited about it because like I said, I'm fine tuning my personal journey
Hmm.
along with everyone else. So I'm excited about what's to come for me too.
Yeah,
And but yeah, shoot.
this will be my second one of the year, and I'm looking forward to it because the last the 21-day juice fast I did, that's when I wound up finishing a book, Who Stole My Pension, and several other books, and it was just like so much stuff started just coming to me, messages, thoughts
Hmm.
about people. I think that was like right before the part we kicked off with the Keep It Seed Simple too, where it
Yeah,
was just like
it was.
I wasn't I even got an idea for a book that I ain't gonna mention again, but it was I think I was doing more listening and not necessarily forcing things to come out, because
Hmm.
I'm listening to my to the inner voice where it's like all you need is some water, or
Hmm.
all I need is one of those boathouse juices with the green apple with the
Like
kale
we
in it.
talked about. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was straight.
yeah.
I know that like it was a little teetering because it was just like I would feel like I was getting weak, but I had more energy.
Hmm.
I had more energy doing that.
Yeah.
Did we say what does the harvest mean to you? Like just basically like the harvest meaning the process of gathering the crops,
Yeah, like starting to check off those things.
them
I mean,
small points.
depending on how you visualize your journey, you start to see it like in real life as opposed to like a concept.
Mm-hmm.
You start to You start to meet your goals face to face, like you're accomplishing them, as opposed to being like, oh yeah, one day. No, like
I need this done.
literally, you're literally going to start to see the opportunities start to hit your network, hit your bank account, hit your energy levels, hit your athletic performance, hit your spiritual enlightenment. Like you just it becomes real. That's what the harvest means. Like it becomes real,
Mm.
real time.
No, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that throughout this year alone. Just on I was big like I say the past 2 decades, really like pushing the effort for my homeboys and I to get together or people to get together with me.
Mhm.
I try a group doing music. That shit didn't work. I'm telling my homies like, let's save $5 a week or a month, and it's like 20 of us. That shit didn't really work. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? It wasn't until like the cats was talking about vaccines and stuff to where it's like my homeboy's like, oh man, let's stack this money together. I'm like, man, I've been saying this shit for the past 20 years. Like
Yeah.
we and in doing it, I'm like, I'm not saying it for us as a collective, not just as a collective, but for us to have something sustainable. Meaning like we had this money, we can go get whatever the market has going on in a crash.
Yeah.
It's gonna ebb and flow. You got the up and down. So it's just like, but I'm just to a point where I'm like, I don't necessarily look for it. It's been coming to me now.
Yeah.
I don't have to force the F. All the energy is like, if I send something out, it's gonna come back.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's a PDF I read called Seed Money. When I see the youngins on the corner selling water,
Mhm.
I'll be like, here go $2 or $3. Sometimes here go $5. And I just say, bring it back tenfold. So I might get $500 out of nowhere, out the blue, because I'm blessing somebody. I'm giving them an opportunity for the hustle that they have. I don't have to have the water, but look, man, just keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Keep bringing it about, because it's gonna help at some point. You can go
I
buy you can go buy some more water. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that you touched on how you've been trying to connect with people.
That go back to that fertile soil. Huh.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's just like the more we do this collectively, the more we expose ourselves to these to these journeys like together,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll find that your circle of people are more energetic and more receptive to what you're trying to share,
Yeah,
as opposed to being met with fear and doubt.
yeah. I'm look.
You share your idea, and they're projecting their fear onto your new idea. I mean,
I know.
I know this personally because I think we've all had to deal with fear at some point. But when you start to get on the other side of it and you start to reflect on moments where a person is trying to like share, drop a gem with you, but you're in your fear, like you can't receive it, you can't help them build on it. But once you start to, expose these opportunities, like right now, we're talking about purging, we're talking about the different steps to get to a harvest. The more that we do this and the more people that do it, the more fruitful our interactions become.
Hell yeah. Cause I always live by the motto like fear equals death. Be fearless. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? It's like I did a painting and I sold it, but it's kind of like I live by this. So I can do 1,000 of them paintings, but it ain't nothing like living it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's nothing like now. I done tapped in with a group of people now where it's just like this is not stopping.
yeah. So that's one of the parts of harvesting. Getting on the other side of your fears, because the more you start to shed yourself of those fears, like shit, can't nobody touch you in.
And I feel like I'm at that point because and I know we at the last question, but it's like the people that I done tapped into, I done one of the homies got a he got a mantra that I've been telling him like this is the mantra to start off the decade.
Mm-hmm.
Work, build, dream, create. You know what
Okay.
I mean? And I did a little commercial, work, build, dream, and create. But now it's like for me, it's taken off to say like work, build, dream, create, authentic abundance. And I
Mm.
might say, sustainable, sustainability abundance. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like to add that as a mantra. And if you live in this way and I'm living this way, and then the others maintaining too, it's kind of
Mm.
like you can't stop that force of motion
Nah.
because it's not something that we holding on to try to keep it to ourselves. It's
Mm-mm.
like it's the light that's just burning and it's keeping the energy like it's keeping it flowing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's a nice little hybrid of power and humility all in one.
Hmm. So like I don't even want you to answer this question. I want you to think about this.
Okay.
All right. Are you collecting seeds for the spring harvest to plant? You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that way it's kind of like what are you collecting to plant now? In a physical sense, like what books are you reading?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, what seeds are you gathering? Cause when it hit, I'm like, I'm not looking to get prepared then. You know what I'm saying? If I stay
Yeah,
prepared, I ain't gotta get prepared. So that's
exactly.
that's where I want to leave off at. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
It's been a good one. I'm excited about this purge. I'm like, oh shit,
Me
auntie. Nah,
too.
I ain't gonna mess with her though. I'm gonna see if she gonna participate.
Yeah. Any and everybody should.
Yeah,
Got to purge so we can play.
yeah. Mm-mm-mm. I appreciate it.
Likewise,
Yeah, it's another great one in the book. So hey, they better get ready.
let's keep it rolling.
I got you. Well, shit, we is done.
Peace and love.
Peace.